Hello, everyone. So sorry I'm late. I'm doing this on my own, so bear with me. And I don't know if anyone is in the chat. I think that might be just Shane in the chat. So we're going to wait a little bit. Hopefully some people will see the announcement because I didn't announce it for long at all. All right, there we go. All right, come on in, everyone. Let me know in the chat where you are, who you are if you want. All right, 15. All right, here we go. So I apologize. I'm a little late and I'm doing this by myself. So I'm kind of learning, but I think I have a really exciting presentation. I'm not just gonna like stream from the Diddy trial, although there is a lot going on today. There has been a lot. Really, again, shocking information coming out about what they found in his Miami compound, from what they found in his Hyatt hotel room when he was arrested. Crazy stuff. I mean, pretty unbelievable, to be honest. All right, Mary Ann Reed from Rhode Island, welcome. Cyprus, I think Cyprus, California. Gata, welcome. Puyallup, Washington. Cape Cod, Massachusetts, awesome. Elk City, Oklahoma, welcome, Audrey. Patricia Inoka from the Big Island, aloha. Jim Griffin from Maine. Hi, Nancy from Berkeley, I think that's Berkeley, California. And Stephanie from LA. Yay, someone from LA. Lawsuit against the alcohol company. Maybe it was Ciroc and he won a bunch of money. I had not heard about that. Sorry, Andy, I have no idea. I have been keeping up with the recent findings, and I'll show a little of what's going on now, and I'll try to explain some things, because when I'm watching the lives, no offense against those creators, but there are a lot that they didn't know. So I want to clear some of that up if I can. Kurt Kangas, Tracy is the most beautiful. Oh, thank you. Classy and smart. Thank you so much. Stephanie from Studio City. Joshua from Tahoe, California. Love Tahoe. Berkeley, California. Bakersfield, California. Deanna. Got a notification. Yay, Colorado. A lot going on in Colorado. So we do have a really comprehensive video about the tornadoes. And we got some really good footage. I didn't get it, but Shane and some other channels have gotten some like unbelievable footage from inside these tornadoes. Yeah, one of these guys he intercepted it. It was so crazy. I can't believe what people are willing to do to get that close to a tornado. So it's really gotten bad. Okay, Houston, Texas, Kona, Hawaii, Canada, and Northeast Washington State. All right, awesome. Oh, wow, we got a lot of you guys. Okay, Canada, welcome. Okay, Connecticut, welcome, Adrian. Okay, so for those of you that just joined, I'm doing this by myself, so bear with me. The main thing I wanted to present today involves the interrogation of a man named Jonathan Oddi. Now, this was taken in 2018. I'll play a clip explaining who he is. So a lot of channels have been playing the part where he says that he was involved with the Diddy and Cassie freak-offs. And so in 2018, when he explained it, people just thought he was crazy. And most of what he said sounds absolutely crazy. But Cassie and paperwork have shown to back up his claims. So yes, he was a participant in their freak offs. He said like 15 times. And during that time, he overheard a lot. So I'm going to talk about the part that most channels are ignoring. And really quick, Montana, I think Montana, Napa, California. Born, Diddy, vote or die. Yeah. Okay. So let me play this to explain who Jonathan Oddi is.
There is something that has surfaced. This police interrogation of a man who allegedly opened fire inside of one of former President Donald Trump's hotels, Jonathan Oddi. What is his connection to Diddy? Now, you might remember back in 2018, a man went into the Trump Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night and went on a rampage. The state attorney's office says that Jonathan Oddi fired shots inside the lobby and toward the chandelier on the ceiling, then draped a giant American flag across the hotel's front desk. He allegedly walked around breaking items like computer monitors, throwing things around the lobby. When police officers arrived and confronted him, there was a shootout. Oddi seemingly tried to make a run for it, but he had been shot in the leg. He didn't get very far. Police found him hiding. They took him into custody. Oddi was taken to the hospital with 3 gunshot wounds, 2 in one leg, 1 in the other. And while at the hospital, Oddi reportedly made several bizarre statements and asked repeatedly to speak with the FBI, Secret Service, CIA, the media.
Okay, so that's who Jonathan Oddi was, and that's why he was arrested. The reason he was in the gown is because he was shot 3 times during this exchange between police. But he, according to him, had a very important message that he was trying to get to Trump and trying to wake the American people up to. And he made some really, now that time has gone, I don't think these claims are too unbelievable, but they relate to very high profile people within the Democratic Party. Let me really quick, I'll play the part where he talks about his relationship to Diddy and Cassie. This has been played a lot, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is what he said regarding Diddy. Okay. Okay, so I hope I'm back. Okay, so that is the part that's been confirmed by Cassie, and we have documents supporting his connection to Sean Combs and Cassie. And this was dug up by the show Sidebar with Jesse Weber. He does really good content. And this is an agreement, a legally binding agreement that he signed an NDA with Diddy and Cassie, or with Diddy. Sean Combs is right there, that he will not talk about the information he has or anything to do with him. So this is an official agreement, although he's broken it recently. But here's a close-up look of Sean Combs' signature. So I just wanted to qualify him. Okay, so I think that should kind of give him a little credibility, because he's going to say a lot of other stuff. He's going to go into the Illuminati. So let me play. Oh, I'll play you the clip where he talks about the documents. shit. Sorry, I think I messed up there. I think I left it on the video of Audi, but that was him talking about his involvement with Sean and Diddy. And I have a agreement here. This is a NDA that he signed, saying that he wouldn't say anything about what he knew and what he heard and all that, although he's broken it more recently. This was signed in 2014. And again, the event where he broke into the Doral was 2018. Now, the part that I found really interesting is when he goes into the Illuminati and he names some very high profile members of the Democratic Party. Now I'm just going to look at my timestamps. Okay, so he's trying to explain what's going on nowadays, like big picture, global picture, the globalist, right? And he talks about this card game called the Illuminati card game. Now, this is an actual card game. It came out in around 94, 95. They're like collectible cards that you could buy at the time. They're really hard to find nowadays. But he's going to say how these cards predict things in the future. And there are some really uncanny predictions that these cards made. I'm going to have him explain the Illuminati.
Card game.
I'm not familiar with it, so help me understand.
It's a card peaceful way out, and they have an agenda to kill it. Okay. Example: if you look at the Illuminati card games, example. Okay. You look at the game, Illuminati card game.
I'm not familiar with it, so help me understand.
It's a card game.
It's a card game.
That tells exactly what their agenda is.
Gotcha.
It's called mental pre-programming. That means that you predispose already. Once you play this, your mind is already predisposed at this happening.
Okay, so he's talking about the game and how this somehow programs things to happen in the future. Now, I know if I had heard that 3 years ago, I would have just thought it was nonsense because that sounds really crazy. But I'm going to point out some things that that this card game, and he's going to say both, that he was correct about. Okay. So I'm going to play the part where he predicts the attempted assassination on Trump.
Donald's still blind because he thinks that he let Hillary off the hook and she's okay. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying. Okay, keep going.
It ain't like that. The CIA and then they want to do the same thing that they did JFK. Okay.
All right.
Why? Because they want the United States to fall. They've already been creating a state of chaos and confusion in the United States. They want the United States to fall. Donald was against their agenda and won the presidency. Okay. He did get help from Russia. He did get help from the Saudis. He also got help from a lot of Republicans in here, which is the electoral college vote. And he got a lot of support from Republican people. Okay. The elections, yeah, they weren't fair, but he wanted the electoral college vote.
Right.
Which is the Republican vote, basically, got him through, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get the popular.
Okay, so in case you didn't hear that, he says they're going to do to Trump like they did to JFK. So he's saying this in 2018. So that is one prediction that he had correct, because there's a lot of similarities between those two. Okay, and then let me show, let me talk about the Twin Tower situation. And then I'm going to show the actual Illuminati cards and what they look like. And when I saw these, it just like my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe that these cars were made in 1994. Okay, so here's the Twin Tower reference.
You understand what I'm saying?
You're trying to, right?
Don is intelligent. We have a similar type of intelligence and overview of things. The only thing is he's not seeing that Hillary is a distant cousin of his and Obama have a different plan for him. You understand? No offense with Obama. I love each and every American, but he was part of that 9/11 agenda. He's a CIA agent, an ex-CIA agent. That's why there's so much identity issues with Obama. Who knows his real name? They say he was born in Indonesia, and he's also born in Hawaii. Nobody knows. Why? Because he's an ex-CIA agent.
Okay.
Basically, Osama bin Laden never existed. It was a creation of the CIA. And
Okay, so he said that he makes some predictions about the Twin Towers and how, I guess, this has all kind of been a farce. And I think a lot of you watching my channel agree. This wasn't just a, Saudi terrorist that did this event. I think there was a lot more with the three-letter agencies being involved and people in very high places being involved in that event. So now that it's 2025, I think we can kind of understand that these things that he's talking about are not just nonsense. Okay, so two things he talks about is the attempted assassination on Trump and what happened to the Twin Towers. Now let me show you the cards, the Illuminati cards. Okay, here is one card, and it says, at any time, at any place, our snipers can drop you. Have a nice day. If you want to pause this and see what it says underneath, it's about how to play the game. But again, like this was made in 1994. It doesn't say who that person is up there, but if you were to tell me that was Trump, I would certainly believe you. So that was something that I found, and I was just like, I could not believe it that was made when it was made. Okay, now let me show you the Illuminati cards for the Twin Towers. Okay, so yeah, there's one, these two towers on the left, and then there's also one of the Pentagon with fire coming out from the middle. And it says, play this card anytime you give 10 plus power or resistance to any violent group you control. So I don't understand how the game was played. I don't fully understand that. But I just thought it was really crazy that these things were made when they were. And now we're hearing someone explain the plot that was behind some of this stuff. Okay. Just have a couple more parts of the interview, and I'll link the interview. You know what? If you want to watch the interview, it's about 30. It's not that long. It's about 34 minutes, I think. It's on this channel called Real World Police, Interrogation of Trump Doral Shooter Jonathan Oddi. So you can hear the whole thing there. He says a lot, but I picked the things that I thought were most captivating, most interesting. All right, now I'm going to play the part where he talks about the Democratic Party. All right, now I'm going to play the part.
Okay, so he's got to stop taking the Arabian money because he's letting everything slide. He's letting Obama stand right behind him, and so Hillary. He knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
He knows who they are. So does the CIA. Maybe the Secret Service doesn't because you all work for the president, correct?
Right.
You all work for the president.
And some other people, but mainly the president, right?
Exactly. So the problem is you're his circle, the CIA, and then a different circle.
Well, let me rephrase that. We don't work for him. We provide a service to protect him.
Exactly. That's why I want you to talk, and I would like this to be told to Donald Trump. Tell him I'm a supporter of him. I love him. I don't hate him. I know what his issues are. He has an issue right now with him that's bugging him a lot. It's called Stormy Daniels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he goes on about why the Stormy Daniels thing was such a problem for Trump. That part I find that hard to believe, but it's kind of disgusting. But again, you can watch the whole thing. So, he mentions very big names within the Democratic Party. And so I wanted to show this part and make these connections because I haven't heard anyone on YouTube make these connections, like with the card game, with what he said, and also the trial that's going on right now is verifying a lot about what he's talking about, right? Because we've already verified from Cassie that yes, he is who he says he is regarding what their relationship was. And we also have the documents of his NDA, and he does talk about it in this interview. And it was a very big settlement. It was over $5 million. So when an entity is willing to pay that much, you know that they have something. It's not just a little thing. It's definitely something worth protecting. So I wanted to put that out there. I'll play one more of who he says Diddy and some of his associates are.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No.
I'm a supporter, okay?
Right.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what my service was. Yeah. Diddy and Ross, which they're good buddies, okay? Mm-hmm. They're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay, okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, yeah. And P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay.
Who supporter?
Hamas.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No.
Hamas supporter. Okay.
Right.
I had sex with them, so I like black people.
Okay.
My mom, I was raised by an African woman in my house. Okay. She was just a servant, but she was my she took care of me.
Right.
So I love black people. Okay. I had settlement with Sean. Okay. He's Donald Trump. Okay, because he used to belong to their side. You understand? He used to belong to that Illuminati group that I told you about, which is an elite group, okay, of individuals which run the whole country. All right.
All right.
Basically, what I did you tell him did you explain to him about the message? Or
No, please elaborate.
On Thursday, turning to Friday, basically, I went to Donald Trump. I went through he let Hillary off the hook. And won the presidency. Okay.
All right. I was looking for the part where he explains the boule. He says, I thought I had it right there, but he says the boule is a branch of the Illuminati, the Black people. So that's who he says Diddy is a part of, but that they're all kind of connected. And he says that he has this information because of the time he spent with Diddy, hearing him talk on the phone. Sometimes he'd be having conversations on the TV. So it's not too crazy to assume that he did hear some stuff. Some other things that have come up more recently through the trial that further solidifies some of these things that he said. Yesterday, there was let me see if I want to see the chat. Okay. All right. So I apologize. I'm kind of having a hard time keeping up with the comments, but I will get to them in a little bit. Okay. So something else that has come up yesterday, there was a witness. His last name was James. He was Diddy's assistant during 2009, 10, 11. Around that time during the Obama presidency. And they were asking him, what he did, who was Diddy meeting with? And he says straight out, the former President Obama was meeting with him. So we have confirmation from a witness who was on the stand under oath saying that they were meeting during that time. So I thought that was really surprising. The attorney didn't dig more. I would have wanted to know more about that, but they didn't, really further what it was about or what they were talking about. So I really don't know. And that witness might not have known either. Something else that was spoken about was that Diddy had these pills, and I believe he says they're MDMA pills or ecstasy pills. And he had some with Obama's face. That doesn't mean that they're from Obama, because a lot of dealers will make, or manufacturers will make, an imprint on a pill with something related to current events. So, yeah, I mean, and Diddy and Obama are on camera saying that, they're on the same side, the whole vote or die thing that Diddy did. And so that's not really a secret, but I just thought it was interesting that he was having meetings with Obama. Like, why would he be having meetings, in person? So, okay, let me try to catch up on some of these messages. This guy is a Diddy prostitute. Yeah, that's who he is. Cards that show their plans. What they have to tell their plans is to be free of culpability, have more power, and instigate fear. God number one. So as I investigate these topics, I find that more and more that these plans are laid out for everyone to see. They're not hidden. It's just a lot of people, the media doesn't pick up on it. So a lot of people just don't know. If you want the masses to know something, you got to serve it on a golden platter. They're not going to do the research and look these things up. But I do think the Diddy trial is shedding light on, some of these darker things that we've not really been focused on. Okay. Oh, Shane is here. Thanks, Shane, for joining. He couldn't make it, so that's why I'm doing this on my own. Expose the whole damn cabal. Yeah, Diddy to the world's entertainment, connect Diddy to the world's entertainment industry. So Trump, hard question, is Trump Illuminati? I don't know. I think you probably hear people say absolutely, and you'll probably hear people say no, he's the anti-Illuminati. And I personally don't know. If you're listening to what this, Jonathan guy is saying, he is saying that he is not, that he is at odds with the cabal. But this was in 2018. So, things have changed a lot since then. This is before the lockdowns and everything. Tel Aviv, Hollywood, playground. Yep. Okay, some of these things I can't say because I don't want my life to get shut down. Trump was used as a mole to expose the demons, to bring light to gather all this. Trying to show the fallen cabal. I'm trying to show the fallen cabal in my videos. I make no money. Fried silvers. Okay. Yeah, it's really hard to get this information out on the channels that have enough people, that have the audience. I know I can go on to Odyssey and be completely uncensored, but I don't, how many people are going to watch my videos there? This guy doesn't act like he's been shot 3 times. Where is there blood on the tile floor? Yeah, I don't know. The footage that they released was very, very limited. Just that part of him putting the flag down and then him with the shootout. I'm sure they censored a lot. So, there's probably more illicit types of footage where you can maybe see more of that stuff. They maybe just not, they just didn't release it. But I'm thinking 4560, especially, the 40, was it the 4568? Robert, do you mean 8645, the 8647, or is this a different number? So more recently, James Comey put a post with this number 8647, which is like 86, like get rid of, and 47 mean, Trump. But I don't know what that was about. I think it was probably a message, but I don't think they should arrest him. Some people say James Comey should be locked up for that. But I think at this point, it should be well known that James Comey was an arm of the Democratic Party, right? His job was to get rid of Trump or, put him down. But I don't think he was very successful. Also, James Comey's daughter is one of the prosecutors in the Diddy trial. And she's actually the lead prosecutor. She's the one doing a lot of the questioning. So there's that connection. A lot of people think that's odd. A young rapper just admitted yesterday that a member of Telema, followers of Aleister Crowley, Sean Combs following Crowley's practices. Yeah, I mean, now that we know what Diddy was actually doing, it does sound like a lot of the things that Aleister Crowley used to talk about, how he would access the other world. Although I don't think Diddy is that far advanced. I don't think he's able to really master, that process the way Aleister Crowley did. There's also a rumor that Aleister Crowley is Barbara Bush's father, biological father. But I don't know. I heard that some time ago. Hi, Anne from Ohio. Going down the satanic cabal rabbit hole is spooky. Yeah, it's really dark, and this Diddy trial is really bringing up some really dark ideas. And this Audi interrogation is as well. And I try not to spend too much mental time and energy on it, because I think it does kind of make me feel sick sometimes. But when I heard some of this interview, I just thought it was important to get it out there. So that's why I'm doing this live. I would have rather do like a proper video, but I've been extremely really slammed in my my real life to get any content done. Can Obama get a third term? I doubt it. I think he's lost his ability to win, even if he could run. Great job, Tracy from Maui. Thank you. Obama's gay. Yeah, that's what they say. Biden term law. Oh, surprise meat and freezer. No, I've not seen pictures, but I did hear about that book from that other escort or a male dancer, but I didn't look too much into that. If Obama runs as VP, he can be the president. Yeah, then no one will have to vote for him. Hope you're doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Hello, Tracy and Shane. Hello, Milford. Always dislike Diddy, creepy. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm so sorry I can't get through all of them. This got kind of busy. But yeah, Diddy's there've been a lot of talk, not just from like regular people, but people in the industry saying a lot of these things. And it turns out they were right. And it was actually much worse than we could have ever imagined. But so far, legally, he's not denied any of those freak offs. He's not denied any of that. And I'll go a little bit into the recent findings for the Diddy trial. And this was released during the interrogation of the FBI agent who did the search. So when Diddy was arrested in New York, he was staying at the Park Hyatt Hotel in New York City. And it looked like he was arrested, like it was a surprise, but it shouldn't have been because they had already raided two of his homes. It was televised. So he knew it was coming. I just don't know I don't think he knew when or exactly how they were going to do it. He said he was going to turn himself in, but I don't think they wanted to wait for that. But they arrested him. They took him into custody, where he is till this day. And they looked into his room. And then this part's really bad. I'm going to close my door. So if you guys have any kids in the room, I would either turn this off or have them leave. Okay, so what they found in that hotel room, and it was just a fairly normal room. It wasn't like super fancy like you would think his room would be like, but they found tons of baby oil, like full bottles in different places. They found lube, quite a lot, like multiple tubes of them. They found prescription bottles and pills and baggies of pink powder. And they said they found a bag that was like a woman's bag, but they didn't show a good picture of that. So I just have to assume he was either doing freak offs in that room or was planning on it. Oh, also there were eye drops. So I will explain, because this is a live, I can't explain what the pink powder is. It's coke and ketamine, and they dye it pink to identify it. And it is, when did I start hearing about it? I started hearing about it, but it's kind of, I feel like it's more of an elitist type of drug, like a designer drug, like it probably costs a lot. There was also pills of clonazepam, which is a benzodiazepine, which is a downer. It's one of the longer acting benzodiazepines. There was also a bottle that has something about amphetamine. So I'm guessing it was some type of Adderall. And what else was there? I'm just doing this by memory. So yeah, so the amount of drugs wasn't significant. He probably could have afforded to have more. There were like 2 little baggies of the pink stuff. So it looks like he was continuing to do these freak offs. And for someone who is being investigated by the FBI for doing these things, it's just crazy to think he was still doing it. And he had to have known they were going to go. He had to have known they were going to go in his room. So I didn't want to share that. And then they also raided his Miami Star Island compound. And for those a little less familiar, Star Island is a really exclusive part of Miami. And like a lot of high profile people have mansions there. And I think Epstein did and Diddy did. A lot of the homes have their own private dock with their own boats. Oh, Shay Watson, super sticker. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, let me do a little bit and then I'll talk about the raid in Miami. Okay. Before the USA, there was no, okay. Okay, thank you for the super chat, Shay. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten colon cancer. Well, he might have it. He's addicted and okay, Nancy, thank you. She says, thank you for putting this information out. Yeah, I really wanted to put this out just mainly because I didn't hear anyone else saying these things, pointing out those parts. Okay, so they raided his Star Island compound and they found a lot of drugs and weapons like AKs with the serial numbers scratched off. So that's a crime right there. I think we all knew that. There were also multiple pairs of really high platform shoes. I'm assuming they're women's shoes, kind of like stripper shoes. There were multiple ones of those, like a lot of them. There was also a Balenciaga boot with a phone hidden in there. So I guess someone was trying to hide a phone. So I'm sure they have that and they know what was on it. So it was probably being used for illicit activities if they're trying to hide it in a boot, right? There was also pills, and I believe they said it was tested as MDMA or ecstasy. They also found liquid and powdered cocaine, and they also found liquid eye drops, and they tested that for drugs. I don't remember which one it was. I'm just going to assume it was cocaine because I have heard that was kind of like a thing for a while. Like they would, instead of, snorting or injecting, like people were using drops to absorb these chemicals. But I don't remember what they said they tested those drops with. So what my mind thinks is those drops were either being used to spike drinks or they were using it for your own eyes to get high. And I wish I took more notes, but they found a lot of incriminating evidence at his Star Island compound. And I think there was more than just freak offs going on because of its proximity to the water, to Cuba, where a lot of trafficking of different things happen. I do think he was a player in the trafficking of different things, human as well as illegal substances. But I don't know. I don't think that is one of the charges. It's just the sex trafficking. But I don't feel like he was really trying to hide what he was doing. Okay, let me see some of it. The Oprah Diddy. Yeah, I kind of stay away from that because it gets kind of scary, talking about this, about the person that starts with the letter O. Billie Eilish is all demonic. Yeah, well, a lot of our artists that are like popular have gotten extremely demonic. I mean, their performances, like Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish, they've been very upfront. The Weeknd, their performances and their videos are very satanic, very ritualistic, and they're not even trying to hide it. So they're just putting it out there at this point. So it's not much of a stretch to say that Diddy is connected to these things, not just the satanic thing, but also the bigger plan, or the, I guess, plans of the cabal or the Illuminati. So yeah, if I had heard this 3 years ago, I would have thought it was crazy. But now with all of this being uncovered, it just makes sense, that Diddy is on trial for something. So this is like the biggest possible crime, and this is like the smallest possible crime he could be charged of with the feds. He's more like here, right? The charges are not that serious. I mean, they're serious, but they're not related to like an overall plan. They're not really digging into the entire network that he was supporting or that he was supported by. They're kind of focusing on these freak offs, which are, involve like a smaller number of people. And I think we've already accepted that, yes, he was doing these freak offs, but I think that is just part of the bigger picture. So that's the main thing I wanted to share today. Also today, I was watching some of the stream. I'm not going to play it because I think it's the trial is almost, it might be over because they're ending it in New York at like 4, maybe even a little earlier. But they did have a really interesting witness, and I didn't hear his testimony. I just heard the initial part where he went on the stand. His last name is Kaplan. He was an employee of Bad Boy. So he, I guess, was working with Diddy in some capacity. I don't know what his position was. He might have been an assistant or an associate. I don't know. But they start out with asking him, is he going to invoke his Fifth Amendment right? And he said yes. So he is not going to self-incriminate by what he's going to say on the stand. So right there, he has some really good information. And then they offer him immunity, like right there on the spot. So I guess I didn't hear if he's going to accept the agreement, but I think that's you kind of have to at this point, right? If you're on the stand and you've been offered immunity to give your statements, I kind of think he has to, but I don't know what information he's given. I'll watch some of the replays of the lives, but it's just one after another witness is coming forward supporting the claims that Cassie put out back in 23 and currently. And the activities that Diddy was involved with are true from what we heard, and then some. They're so much worse, I think, than anyone could have imagined. And I have a friend, Derek, who knows some of the people who Diddy's worked with. He doesn't know Diddy personally, but I asked him, all this stuff, is that a surprise? A lot of these things about, him being gay and these freak offs. And he said that some of the things were kind of understood, but how bad they were and how widespread these activities were, he said he didn't imagine, he didn't realize just how pervasive this is within the music industry. And I also started to look into why hip hop became gangster rap. I mean, they're kind of synonymous now, but that's not how hip hop was. That was, I guess, developed in the 90s with NWA. Before that, hip hop, and I think hopefully some of you guys can remember, was like party music. You know, it was about dancing and having fun and being positive. At least that's what I remember when I first started hearing the music. And it was around, was it like 92 or 93? It took a turn and it became violent, and it became about gangs and pimps and doing drugs and, you know, illegal activities. But there were some that split and went the other way. So there was like the conscious hip hop artists that were like the Fugees, and then there was like the rest, that turned into like gangster rap. But a lot of those are not authentic. Tupac Shakur was not a gangster. You can see old videos of him. He was actually a very kind of I don't want to. He was kind of had a very feminine nature about him when he was like 17, 18, before he got into the industry. But then once he became an artist, his music changed, and he started talking about, you know, violence and things like that. And the people who were responsible for that shift, and there is some pretty good documentation. There have been people that have come out recently that were in the hip hop industry, the higher ups, like the producers, the people who made high level decisions. There have been people that have come out and said they went to a meeting with a bunch of executives. It was like they're guarded by like armed security. And it was presented that now you are going to present rap in this way with violence, because the people who are invested in hip hop are also invested in private prisons, and they need to keep the prisons full. So those two things go hand in hand. And that is the explanation for why hip hop became what it did, what it is till this day. You know, maybe now with Diddy, you know, going through what he's going through, maybe that'll change. And hopefully people realize that this shift in hip hop is a psyop. It is to brainwash the young people to want to go into an illegal business, or, you know, go into the gangster lifestyle, right? Which we all know often you end up in prison. So I thought that was really interesting. There's a really amazing podcast by Seth Holhouse. His show is Man in America. Oh, Shane's joined. Okay, Seth's show is Man in America. We've been on his show. He does a really good breakdown of the hip hop cabal and how Diddy, you know, is just, he looks at the whole picture, you know, the shift in what hip hop was and now is, and the reasons behind it. And that should really, you know, if you know someone that joined a gang or went to prison for violence or, you know, drug trafficking, that should make you really angry, right? Because when you listen to this kind of music, and that's the ideas that are in your head, and this is what you think is good, you're just, as a young person, more likely to go that way. And that's just how things are, especially with hip hop. At least when I was young, it was like a young person's art, you know. And another thing, it wasn't just music. It was, and Diddy has said this many times, it's not hip hop is not just music. It is a lifestyle, you know. So I think that kind of got into American culture and has really poisoned an entire generation of people. I think people, especially my age, born in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know, if you listen to that stuff and that's kind of what who you looked up to and what you wanted to do, women too. A lot of women that didn't have to got involved with doing illegal things, getting involved in gangs when they didn't have to. I know people that did. So, sorry, that's my dog. Okay, let me catch up. Oh, I see a super chat I missed. Shane, can you put up some of the comments that I missed? Okay, I'll read some comments that I'm just seeing here. Okay, Marianne Reed, he ruined Cassie's life. She was young and vulnerable, and he manipulated her, coerced her, and I think she has Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, I think that's been made clear. And it is kind of a surprise that she has kind of come out. She seems to be doing well. She's about to have her third child. She's married. Seems like she's in a healthy relationship, because oftentimes when you're not shown that as a young person, as a woman, it's hard to not fall into the same habits, you know. But I don't know exactly. Oh, someone says Tupac is gay also. Yeah, if you watch that video that Seth did, Man in America, he plays an old clip of Tupac. And I really love Tupac. I grew up listening. I think that was like one of my first like CD singles. But if you watch it, you'll kind of see that he kind of seems feminine. I mean, you have to watch it. Okay, they groomed them all. Jewish produce. Yeah, there's certain things that you guys are saying. I just can't repeat it because it's just very much not YouTube appropriate. Tupac was dating Quincy Jones's daughter, allegedly. Yeah, her name was Kidada Jones. I guess maybe he was going to marry her. I'm not sure. Missed the beginning. I'll watch it again. Oh, thank you, Carl. Thanks. Better late than never, right? Keep at it. Okay. Shane, was there anything else? I know I missed some. Or do I want to go to start? Okay, here it is. Okay. No new Kumis. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Robert, thank you for the super sticker. Eugene, I grew up in the hip hop 80s in the South Bronx. It was high energy. Yeah, in the 80s, there was like a band called Kraftwerk. They were like a German band, electronic music, and they used stuff like that to make hip hop. I mean, hip hop has been like reused tracks from the beginning until now, but it was like party music. It was happy music. Okay. Man in America on Rumble. Yeah. I would say if you do go to Rumble and find Seth, Man in America, the title is, I think, The Hip Hop Cabal. And he really finds stuff that I was like, oh, how did you find this? Clips of Tupac, whistleblowers from the industry. A lot of really good stuff. I couldn't have put something like that together myself. Once you know, you cannot unsee. That's right. Hip hop is gay. Style for prison. Oh, but yeah, Tupac. His parents were Black Panthers. PSYOP. Yep, private prisons. You know what? I have a personal story about the private prisons, and I'm not saying like I'm a expert because I don't know too much about it. But when I was a UCLA graduate. I think right when I graduated, maybe 21, 22, or not 20, 01, 02, 2001, 2002. Yeah, I'm not that young. I was approached by someone from the private prison industry, and they wanted me to work there. And I think I don't remember how the revenue was, but from what I can tell, it was extremely profitable, extremely profitable. But it kind of was just, it just felt kind of yucky, you know, making money off prisoners. I just kind of, yeah, it just kind of felt yucky. So I didn't go that route, and I'm glad I didn't. But yeah, it's the prison industry is a big industry from what I understand. Saw the interview he had with you on his channel. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Yeah, we did for the book Sound the Alarm, we did one of our first interviews with Seth. I went to high school with the Sugar Hill Gang. They were so kind. Yeah, I think that was like the happy hip hop, right? Can you imagine what things would be like if hip hop stayed positive? You know, I think a lot of people would have turned out better. You know, if you didn't have that support to make the right decisions when you're young, and then you're listening to hip hop, I can see how it would be. I'm sorry. I can see how it would be very easy to make some bad decisions. Sorry, there's a lot going on in my house today, but I really wanted to put this out. And wow, 233 people. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for being on the live. Now that I have Shane here, Shane, is there, oh, you didn't hear. So was there something that we discussed that I told you that I wanted to do? Okay, well, I think that is the main thing. And leave a comment if you want me to do more about this whole, you know, what I'm trying to do on my channel. I don't want to be like the other channels that are streaming live from the Diddy trial and, you know, getting the information out. First of all, I mean, there are people that do it really well, but the thing that I think where my value comes in is my ability to connect the dots, or, you know, find that information that's coming out from the Diddy trial and connect it to the bigger picture. And I think if more people did that, it would be better, because right now, as far as the trial is concerned, they're showing a very small sliver of the pie. It's much more serious, and it's much bigger than what they're presenting. So I think that's the main thing I wanted to share today. Let me just read a few more comments. Still travel around, Kraftwerk exist. Wow, that they were old, right? Because they were kind of old back then, but their tracks were used for the early hip hop. A lot of the really big hip hop songs, from what I remember. Private prisons or slavery. Yeah, sometimes I tell people, you know, slavery didn't end during the Civil War. It just changed. You know, it just looks different today. But in a lot of ways, we do enslave our own people. Florida is very big, prisons and jails everywhere, I bet. Oh, 30,000 pounds for one prisoner in the UK. So it's not just in the US. Jail is a free, yeah, I guess if you wanted to do freak offs. You can probably figure out a way in jail. Appreciate the work you do. Thank you so much. Oh, your dogs are going nuts because they heard mine. So sorry, you guys. Okay, please keep us informed on the trial. Okay, so I'll do, I will keep up on it because, you know, I do like to be up to date with what's going on. So sorry. But like I said, I don't want to be just reporting. You know, I want to bring more value. I mean, I kind of have to. That's where that's what my channel is about, right? I do report, but I want to give a deeper look into what's happening, because oftentimes, or you know, most of the time, that is really what we're seeing. We're just seeing the surface, and there's so much more. And it is hard to learn, you know, a lot of those things. But at this point in history, it's being revealed. And we don't talk about it, and we don't make those connections and like put those things out there, no one's going to see it. All coming together. Thank you for connecting the dots and being a truth teller. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you. I do try. I think Shane's phone has died. No, Shane just he's just didn't prepare. He wasn't prepared, wasn't planning to be on this live. So okay. Thanks for all your hard work. You're welcome. Dave Hodges, yeah, he's mentioned me a few times, and I know he's back. His channel got shut down. Yeah, I haven't caught up with his stuff, but I do know Dave Hodges. I know his videos. You're a brave and courageous woman. Thank you. I really try to. I like dogs. I like dogs too. I'm a dog person. Okay. That's what Allie is. Oh, Allie Carter. I think that's who you're talking about. Yeah, she hasn't been putting things out recently, and I did hear that she's been silenced somehow. She supposedly, I don't know, I kind of get weird vibes from Allie Carter because she claims to be the illegitimate child of, or she claims to be the child of either Tupac or Aaliyah. I think she's made some claims that are a little questionable, but dogs never say anything horrible. Yeah, they don't. Okay. All right. So yeah, I will do more reporting on Maui and what's happening now. But next, we have some really, really like unbelievable footage and information about the tornadoes that have been hitting Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Arkansas, and some really, really devastating damage, but good footage. So I think Shane will try to film that tomorrow if I can. Yeah. Okay. So we'll try to get that up tomorrow. We'll do the tornadoes that came through the first round, and we'll put that up. And there were so many that I think we're going to do a part 2 because I didn't want to put like a really long video together. But we'll find Shane's found some interesting imagery from the satellites, and so we want to share that with you guys. So I think that is going to do it. Did I miss any super chats? Or that's good. Okay, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining and participating in the chat. And I don't know when my next live will be, but sometime, I guess, in the next week or so. So thank you guys so much for being here. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I think if you did chat, if you want to chat, you have to subscribe. So I know you guys are already subscribed. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.